Hey guys, so in today's video, I am reacting to the conservative slash MAGA Amala Ekpunobi reacting to a New York Times columnist who said Dems should be more about identity politics. Amala, of course, disagreed because she believes Trump won because the American people rejected identity politics and the Democrats' agenda. Okay? Although she's one of the very few moderate conservatives out there, compared to nuts like Candace Owens, Officer Tatum, and Black conservative, I totally disagree with her take on this. So, without further ado, why don't we get right into the video? Let's watch.
Everything that's going on with the major L that the left took in this election, you would think maybe it's time to look internally and learn some lessons. The American people are screaming at you that your messaging is not working for them anymore. Your plans are not working for them anymore. Your policy is not working for them anymore. The issues that you are focusing on are not working for them anymore. And instead of taking a look internally, a lot of them are refusing to learn the lessons. And we have some crazy examples of that we are going to go through today. A New York Times columnist was on a show, and she stated what she's learned from this Democratic loss is that they need to actually double down on identity politics. I am not joking. She wants to double down on identity politics.
Okay, so let's not get ahead of ourselves here, okay? Did Trump win the election? Yes, he did. But was it a mandate? Was it historic, as Republicans love to be saying that it was historic, his win? No, it wasn't. Okay? Because you see, with millions of votes left to be counted, his margin seems to be shrinking right now. Okay? So far, more people voted for him in 2020 than this year. So I wouldn't call his win as a mandate, nor would I say that the American people totally rejected the Democrats' agenda. The only reason that Trump won is because millions stayed home this election cycle and chose not to go to the voting booth. That's the reality. Okay, so let's continue watching.
You wrote a piece in the Times just today, and you said, it is time for us to accept that American politics is identity politics. Tell us what you meant by that.
I meant that we have spent a lot of time, and by we, again, I mean myself, people in the media, I think academics, researchers, and politicians certainly have spent a lot of time saying that identity politics is dangerous, or at least it's murky, right? This is why we said Occupy was a distraction for the Democrats. Black Lives Matter was a distraction for the Democrats, right? The feminist movement is a distraction for the Democrats because they won't focus on real issues that matter to real Americans. You should double down on the identities of your base. You should go out to them. Something I think Democrats really only did cosmetically this time, but to take seriously what the members of your base want based on who they are and how they view themselves. I think if we did that, we would have understood why young men are anxious. I think we would have understood why young women could, yes, be afraid of a post-Dobbs America, but not think that the woman president would help them. Right? I think that if you appeal more directly, actually, to people's identities, how they see their identities, then you could play the game that Trump has played, but without all of the nefarious, self-serving, self-aggrandizement.
Oh, goodness gracious. Oh my gosh. Talk about the lesson just flying over your head. This is not even in one ear, out the other. It never came through the ears. It just never came through the ears on this one. Instead of learning that identity politics is not the way, and that this election has been a rejection, an outright rejection of identity politics. They say we must double down on identity politics. And what's even crazier is that she said what Trump has proved in this election is that there are other identities. You needed proof that other identities exist outside of Black people and women? You needed somebody to prove that to you? That's crazy. Okay, well, but sure, Trump proved that. So now we're just going to lean into identity politics even further. No, I think what you need to do is realize that a whole bunch of different identities came together to support Donald Trump because values matter more than these superficial identity characteristics. They matter more than your skin color or your sexual orientation or your pronouns, and people are screaming that at you, wanting you to recognize it, wanting you to move in the other direction. And now you're saying we must lean further into identity politics.
Oh, I beg to differ, Amala. There was only one candidate in the race playing identity politics, and that was Trump. Listen, there could have been a myriad of reasons as to why the American people chose Trump over Kamala, other than because of identity politics. Let's see. It could have been, I don't know, maybe because Trump has been campaigning for the past 2 years. He went through a primary. While Kamala didn't. She was only in the campaign trail for the past 3 months, right? Hate Trump or love Trump. He was picked while Kamala was simply imposed. That could have angered people and they just, I don't know, just voted Trump for that. Okay? It could be, I don't know. It could simply be because she's a woman. People are misogynistic. Huh? Considering that Trump ran 3 times and only lost when he was running against a man. That should tell you something. That should be your clue. Okay? It could be because they simply don't like Kamala. Okay? Because people tend to vote for people they like, sometimes against their best interest. Kamala made sure that she stayed away from anything about identity politics, anything about race. She didn't talk about these subjects at all. The only person who was in the campaign trail talking about race was Trump. Would you rather vote for the black guy instead of the black woman? They are poisoning the blood of our country. Kamala was Indian until she turned black. Which she isn't, by the way, but that's for another story. The Asians are eating the geese. They are eating the dogs. They are eating the cats like a child. Seriously, give me a break with all this nonsense. He was the one out there playing into his base, stoking fear in them just to get a rise. So now you're making it look like that the American people, uh, because Trump wasn't about identity politics, Kamala was the one that was, and the American people chose him. They chose values. What kind of values are we talking about here, Amala? Good values or bad values? Because the bar for good values isn't set that high for Trump. I'm sorry. So it must be bad values you're talking about, right? Right? The guy who is convicted of 91 criminal charges? Come on, Amala. You cannot set the bar so low for the American people. And this is blasphemy to even suggest, to even put Trump and values in the same sentence. Even Trump won't dare call himself a man of values. What? Choosing Trump is choosing values? What? Uh, I have no words. I don't think. Did you really mean that, Amala? Did you? This is a joke. Whatever, people. Anywho, guys, that's all I wanted to say in the matter. Do you agree with Amala about everything she said about Trump? Or do you agree with me about everything I said about Trump? Or do you agree with this New York Times columnist? Let me know in the comment section. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Until next time, ciao ciao.